moderator today is the one and only Gayle Olson Binder. Binder. Olson Binder. K6 Golf Oscar. And Gayle's a past president of the San Diego DX Club. She's a member of YLRL Maxim Society, YLRL, Kalmar, Amateur Radio Club, Hawaii Amateur Radio Society, and ARES. Volunteer examiner for several organizations. And some of the most exciting experiences for life involve amateur radio. And her students talked to an astronaut on Space Shuttle STS-70 back in 1995. She's participated in a YLD expedition, PJ2, in 2011, where they were the first group of YLs to operate after the political change to the island. She was part of a YLD expedition to Montserrat in 93 before the volcano erupted. She also participates annually in IARU and NAQP RIDI contest as ZF1A from Cayman Islands. And outside the contest, she's ZF2GO. You must like the Caymans. Her husband is NA6MB, and they know each other through ham radio, and their fight to change the antenna ordinance in San Diego County. So please give a warm welcome to Gayle.
Thank you so much for being here, and I'm just the moderator, so I would like you to meet our wonderful panel, and then we hope you're going to participate and ask us questions and have this be a very interactive session. So starting with Kristen.
Me?
Introduce yourself,
Oh,
please.
gosh. Yeah, let's pull this up just a little bit. Hi. I'm Kristen K6WX. Many people know me from giving talks all over the place. I give a lot of technical talks. That's kind of my thing in ham radio. I love the technology. I'm an electrical engineer, so I can't help it. I've served in a number of different roles. I've been club president for going on 13 years at the Palo Alto Amateur Radio Association. I've been technical specialist and technical coordinator for the East Bay section for I don't know how many years. I just lost track. And I am now the vice director for the Pacific Division, representing you at the board, the YLRL. And I guess that's it.
Thank you. I'm Cheryl Muhr, November 0, whiskey, beer, and vodka. It gets through the pile up when the female voice does it too, right? I have been licensed since 1983 and on numerous de-expeditions. I am a past president of the Young Ladies Radio League. I've been vice president there. I'm also currently the historian and help produce a magazine, which we can talk about more later, which you get bi-monthly, for the Young Ladies Radio League. I am past ARRL PIC for Colorado, which is where I'm from as well. And I love all modes, all functions, and I'm passed along.
I'm Linda, W6QE, first licensed in high school, let it expire, relicensed in 92, and for more than 10 years, I've lived where I can have a tower and have a lot of fun with it. So I like the HF and some contesting.
I'm fine, W6CBA, and there's three things that I'm celebrating this year. The first one is that my OM, that's old man, if you didn't know, he's in a skilled nursing home, but he is a ham, and we're celebrating 65 years of marriage. Wow. He's been my tower climber and radio installer. And so my second anniversary that I'm celebrating is this year I celebrate 70 years in ham radio.
Wow. So you were minus 10 years old when you first first got licensed?
That's right. Not quite. But my third anniversary that I'm celebrating is that I've reached the age of 90.
Wow.
So anyway, and I love to operate ham radio. I was a CW code instructor for a number of years at one of the local colleges in Whittier. And so I like to work DX and all that good stuff. And with that, I'll turn it back to Gayle.
So do we have any audience questions? And then I'm gonna ask myself, have you ever been to Friedrichshafen? Yes. Two, and Ingrid right here is one of our YLs and another OM who's been there. And I had the great opportunity of going, and I went with Mike last summer, and it was absolutely fabulous. I highly recommend it. And we stayed and we toured, and we went all the way up to Berlin from Friedrichshafen and saw all kinds of great sights. One of the things I took away was going to a YL forum there, and they have a interesting philosophy, which I think we ought to think about very seriously. So since most of the licensed ham are OM, so they've developed this cram class. You really don't learn anything, cram, with the understanding that the YLs who get licensed after cramming are then taken in and mentored in Elmer. And I thought that was really impressive, that's the way to do it. Just get a license, cram, and then learn what it's really about, the behind the scenes and the technology and everything else. So I thought that was good. And Ingrid, do you want to add anything? Because you were there too. Yeah, stand up. There's a mic. There's a mic.
Oh, that's.
No mic right around here.
My name is Ingrid, W7ISG, and I've been to Friedrichshafen numerous times because I was fortunate enough to have married a German, and we lived over there. So we would go over there and camp on the premises and get to meet a lot of our friends throughout Germany. It's a great place to meet not only Germans, but international, and I just love the programs. A lot of programs are in English, and of course a lot in German. Very nice, and then they moved to the new facility, which I also had an opportunity to attend. And the last time that I went was in 2017, and I got to camp. We registered late, so we looked online, and they had a youth group. Obviously, I'm not part of the youth, but they were happy to have people over 20, and so I got to sleep on a cot instead of staying in the hotel room, because they can be a little pricey. And we had the best location because it included our meals. They have a courtyard where you can also enjoy sitting with people, quite similar to here. So a very, very fun experience, and I did go to the YL booth, so I got to meet some of the people there. So,
Thank you.
enjoy it.
So any other questions? Anyone want to stand up to the mic? So Cheryl, do you remember the very, very first time in Visalia where we were kind of in a corner of a room, and you want to reminisce about that, please?
That was actually my first time in Visalia. This is my third now. We only get to come about every 3-4 years or so. And it was amazing because one of the things that we noticed was there were a lot of women here. And a lot of them were licensed, as many of you are in the room. And so we had an unofficial YL forum that year. And there were about, well, it varied because some people came late, about 10 to 15 YLs, just unofficially, who came off in the corner. And we started discussing what the YLs do and how many have gone on de-expeditions. In fact, how many YLs here have gone on a de-expedition somewhere? That's quite a few. And it's, in fact, there have even been some all-YL de-expeditions. is one of the things that we found. So it was a great way to interact, to find out that the YLs actually have a big interest in this convention on their own as well. So Gayle was kind enough to say, hey, let's take this a little one more step further than just informal. And now you've had a YL forum here for how many years?
3 years?
3 years. Yeah. So
It's become a regular thing, and I
it's-
remember when.
I do remember what, and what it all started off was people having questions. They didn't know how YLs would get on a de-expedition. Had anybody even gone? In fact, that there were other licensed YLs who were actually at the Visalia convention. So please, if you think of any questions, this is what this is for. We've got one.
Hi there. My name is Michael, and my call is Whiskey A Charming Idiot. I'm from Xenia, Ohio, and I'm one of the guys that puts on Hamvention, so I got a quick plug-in for that.
Oh, yes.
But my question is, my wife has a general class and license, but she's shy, and then there's a group of the guys I hang with. Their wives are really into, because when you run something like Hamvention and run all over the world with it, they want to be part of it. So, but we're trying to figure out a way, and maybe this is probably a silly question, but as husbands, like sometimes, it's like giving driving lessons, and it's difficult. And so what I'm thinking is, what are some of the best ways for women to get on the air and do that? I should probably know this, but I try to get her to do this. Hey, let's contact this person and that person. She watches me do it, and she gets really a little bit nervous. And then I know for some women, when they get on, it's like, the guys are like, oh, you hear that female voice. But how do you deal with that? And first, give me, how do you get on the air? How do I help my wife and my buddy's friends? Because we're talking about, well, maybe we should start a little 40-meter bet and do that. I don't know. What do you think? Can you give me some insight, please?
Why?
Well, she knows what a nice husband you are, I'm sure.
Oh, it's just up front, right there.
And so what you do is you tell her, come on, we're going to take a ride down to Ham Radio Outlet. I want you to look around with me at the various radios to just be familiar with what they look like. And maybe while we're there, how about if I bought you a book on getting your ticket, and maybe we could get started on a crusade of taking like one question a day and explaining each of those questions. Now, it might sound a little boring to her in the beginning, at least, because she might be like a lot of YLs and not a whole lot, doesn't know a whole lot about like radio terms and all that kind of stuff. But if you, I feel if you approached her where she could be invited to go to the HRO and then get her the book while you're there and look around just to become familiar with the equipment, and would be a beginning.
Well, thank you, but she does have a license. She's a general class, but she's very shy to get on. And
Oh, she is an AM already.
I got so many radios that.
I blew it.
Let me say something.
Yeah, please.
They say a woman's voice gets through the pile-up, so
Oh,
if
yeah.
you could show her that. I've got a friend sitting here who, her husband calls and calls, and then he brings her in, and she gets through in one call. And last year at Field Day, I had a great experience with that. I went to the local club that had their field day going in front of the police station where I live. And I went down in the evening to work with him, and they said, why don't you log while he's calling? And he's calling and calling, calling. He goes, I'm going to change frequencies. And I said, let me give it a try. I got through right away. He was flabbergasted. Well, so was I, because it doesn't always work, you know. But then he called, it happened maybe 3 times, and he was like, that's it, we're trading jobs. But if you could show her that.
That's a good idea. I'll try that. You know, it's a shame. I see that so much because a friend of mine who is also on the board of for Hamvention, his wife just got an extra class license, and she doesn't hardly ever get on. They're afraid to. They're like, oh, I'm going to make a bad mistake. So anyway.
But another thing is, oh, sorry.
Go for it.
Is they can't see you. So when you make a mistake and your face turns red, they don't know that's going on. So I remind myself of that when I do a stupid thing. So.
Okay, my advice is find her an Elmer who is not you. You know what you're doing. You want her to do it right. You're gonna drive her crazy.
I know that.
In the room.
What would be a good, some of the nets you all
Find a woman.
Well, there are actually, I've got 3 here. There are actually 3, and being in Xenia, one of these is going to really hit home. But one, there are organizations such as the Young Ladies Radio League, which are all women. And a lot of women get licensed to talk to their OMs, and they get maybe on the 2-meter with them back and forth, you know, hey honey, can you pick up something on the way home, whatever. But the Young Ladies Radio League, which has had members as young as 8 and as old as 102, because in amateur radio, every woman is a young lady, no matter what her age, has actually been around. This is our 80th year. And one of the things that we do is try to get the women involved. And a lot of them are scared because they don't know who to talk to, or they're not technical. Thursday nights, there is both an Echolink and a YL net, and it is only for YLs. And you can get with her. It's general bands to try to get as many people as we can on there, but it is really only for the women at first, to get the women used to talking to each other and things like that. So that's one area that you can start with. And also with things like the magazines, you can see what some of the other ladies are doing as well, and say, oh, okay, maybe I want to go to this local thing. Secondly, it's what Linda was talking about. The go to station at field day, showing them that this is where people who don't even have licenses can get on, and they can learn how to do this. And because it's a contest and field day is a very quick exchange, you don't have to worry about what am I going to say, what rig am I running, things like that. It's a very quick exchange, so it's a good way to kind of get baby steps. And third is actually Hamvention. There is a YL forum there. And there's a YL booth there, which actually there's more than one YL booth there. There are a lot of women who are there. So again, it's a place where she can interact with not just the local hams, but with more around the world, and see that there are other people there, start talking to them there. We've actually had a few parking lot nets as well, where people who don't talk to other hams will get on the air, 2 meter to 2 meter, just across the room. And once they've made the first contact with somebody, with another YL, it kind of breaks the ice a little bit as well. So those are 3 other possible ways to kind of integrate slowly with little baby steps.
I really appreciate that, you know, and I like the advice, find a different Elmer, you know. And
Sometimes it works better.
One other quick thing I'll add is that I think having, if you have local nets, if you have women net controls, that can often make it easier just to do a check-in. Check-ins are quick and easy in many nets. And when there's another woman on the other side of the net, it makes a big difference. I've been net control in a net for about 15 years that runs 5 days a week. And we have women net controls on through 2 of the 5 days. And it's a great opportunity for them to just check in and get comfortable on the radio.
Can I mention just one other thing, and then I'll get off of this thing. But at Dayton, if you're not treated right in any way, please contact me, because you know, with all of our wives getting their license, making sure that we want to make sure that they're involved in that. You have everything that you need there at the
You guys have always gone above and beyond for the group, absolutely.
That's
Thank you.
We can do better. Thank you. And I appreciate everybody's advice. I'm a little embarrassed to come in and say that, but.
No, it's a very common thing.
So.
I'm just gonna add before, I think Joanna was next and then you'll be next. If she has mic right, has she tried any of the digital moves?
No, we need to probably do that, but I think
Maybe
she
that's
has.
the first step also.
Yeah.
Well, my name is Michael, so she should have. Thank you.
Thank you. Joanna?
This is working even?
A little closer.
How about turning, hello, hello?
Closer.
There you go.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so you mentioned TXing, I think, trying to,
That's what I love.
or you'd love her to do. Okay, just a thought. So, just a thought. If there's a good DX station, you want to put her on and see if she can make that contact, try leaving the room. No, it's just something with my husband. It just to take off that pressure. You know, she's set up, the radio works, you know, right frequency. Just try leaving the room so that she can do it on her own timing. You're not the one, you know, the one saying, okay, go. It's just a possibility. Maybe that's what she wants, maybe that's what she doesn't want. But it's one possibility, okay? Because a lot of OMs tend to do that. You know, maybe, you know, just another thought I had while standing there for a while, you know, birthday, Mother's Day, I don't know, whatever's coming up. You know, when you make those little handmade coupons, to maybe kick you off the air at any time she wants if you're sharing equipment. You know, 3 or 4 or 5 coupons to take over. So she feels like a little more ownership in the equipment. It depends what you have going at home, but it was just an idea.
Got a lot of stuff.
Yeah, so, but anyway, for anyone else in the room too, so that's my idea.
I know you wanted to say something.
I have just one thing. Just stand up. Does she have friends who are licensed or acquaintances?
Well, we have a circle of friends, and we're all licensed, and her friends are their wives. We all Smoky Mountains together, take trips together, run the invention together, and one of the guys' wives got extra class, but she's like kind of afraid to get on. And so we had to figure out how we're going to do this.
So when I first got on, and what got me over the hump was having a group of women friends that I already knew, so we had things in common, we had things to talk about, and setting up a regular time to get on. And then take that next step from there. Start with what's familiar, which would be your circle of friends.
Now, if you see her at the invention, don't you?
Let's send her by the YLRL with just a chat.
You had a comment for me.
Oh, no, she did.
Okay.
I was waiting for the signage here.
I'm the one that got my husband to go get his ham license. Okay, now I'm the opposite, but just a minute. I'm the one that told him, he said he wanted his ham license since he was 12. And our 12-year-old kid wanted his license. So I said, well, sign us up. And he says, I can't do it alone. I said, well, then sign me up and I'll do it with you so we can learn Morse code together. You know, and so the 3 of us did it. But yes, I'm shy about getting on the air. And the reason why is because the first thing the person on the other side is going to ask you is, what kind of radio? What kind of antenna? What kind of this? So if you create your wife a cheat sheet and verse her on it, then she'll know the answers to what they're going to ask her when she gets on.
I think I'll even mention line loss and really get real technical.
So that she has that when they call. And she knows what 5/9 is, and she knows what the different things are, so that when they ask her, she's got an answer.
Thank you. Any questions?
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody.
Good luck. You're next, and then
I'm just going to add, I'm with you. My first contest, I threw my husband out of the shack.
yeah.
He was making me nuts.
Yeah.
And then I had to go make the nice with him and tell him he could come back in. But what we're a very small club in California City. But we have probably 5 or 6 women members, and they are mic shy. So one of the things we did was on field day, we set up a time when it was only YL time. And if we needed to throw somebody out of the room because they were hovering, because we love you guys, but sometimes
I get it. I
you
have 4
hover.
daughters. I have 4 daughters.
And so we have these women, and we have YL time, it's a couple of hours. We end up making more QSOs than the other guys who like to talk, but then don't get on the radio. And, you know, we're called Team Estrogen. and it works, it works. At field day, set up some time for just the YLs and see if she'll get on there. And remind her she's not gonna break ham radio. I didn't.
I'm good at that.
Mike, yeah, you.
I have one more idea. I think, first of all, this problem is not the gender specific.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I understand that, but I'm just being selfish.
And there's two pieces to solving the problem, I think. One is that you got this fear, and you need to feel safe when you get involved. So all these ideas about how to make somebody feel safer is important. The other piece that's critical to getting over your fears is motivation. Being excited enough, wanting to do it enough so that you overcome that. And so maybe part of that is to find the kind of contact that would really excite her and that she really wants to do. Okay, and there's 100 ways you can do that, right? Maybe there's a country that she wants to talk to. And you can find somebody. You're resourceful. You can find somebody in any country you want. And then you can also set it up so that that person knows what's going to happen and doesn't ask those crazy questions about line loss and stuff like that. So, you know, raise the motivation level and make it safe, and that combination will be very good.
I do have 2 comfortable chairs at my shack that roll around, one for her, one for me, so I make that one. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Mike, did you
Yeah,
want
so
to
is
share?
it kind of a combination between your ideas to get them into, and Jim's too, get them into a comfortable space. And field day is great for that. It's a nice casual contest, whatever you want to call it. Not a contest. So what I've done in the past to get, as Jim said, male and female mic shy people on the air, is I write down the exchange, what our call sign is. I said, when I touch you on the arm, say that. When I touch you on the arm, and I point, no, say that one. And when I touch you on the arm, say that one, and you're done. And then you do it again. So they know exactly what to say. They're not, I mean, the fear is, I'm going to say something stupid, I'm going to be embarrassing myself. You got to make that go away.
That's it. You're married to her, right?
Yep. She does not need any help.
That's pretty cool, so
I will add something. Mark, the first time I ever put a mic to my face, we were at the Citrus Gulf Amateur Radio Club, and they were fortunate enough they have a whole station there. So he took me in there. Australia was on. I worked Australia. And he asked me simple questions and stuff, and I responded, because he tried to put me to a 2-meter radio here. And I went, good. When I was talking to that Aussie, I was like, I'm talking to another country. This is awesome. And I actually got in the newspaper because the newspaper was there that day. And so they asked me how I felt about working a country so far away. And I said, well, I got a geography lesson, which I was, you know, stuff like that. But I was kind of explaining why amateur radio to a new person like me was important. But that's where I did. I got that. And then my first contest I was in, that was scary. But I knew I only had to say 5'9", California, I'm okay. But I hit the wrong contest, and the guy in Texas said to me, oh, here's how you do it. And he explained it to me. Wow. And then I went, okay, I'm not afraid anymore. And here I am.
Thank you.
Well, and reminder, there's some really wonderful people on the air.
Yeah.
And I think that one of my first hesitations was, what if I say the wrong thing? What if I break it? And I've met some really wonderful people. And there's a guy named Jean-Jacques, and he's on like Wallops Island. Yeah, she should talk to him. He's got the greatest radio voice.
break it, you needed a new one anyway, so.
The airwaves are full of wonderful people who will walk you through some stuff. I had a problem with the radio one day when my husband, my technical advisor, was gone, and a guy from Australia, he says, meet me 5 down, and I'm going to talk you through how to do this. And he talked me through, putting a filter on, and they're really wonderful people. I've never been yelled at.
I totally agree with that. How do I get my wife to, and you give me some great ideas.
Bring her here.
I don't want to hog the show.
Try the YLRL net and leave the room.
Yes, and cards that she receives in the mail.
That's a good idea.
Or even give her a reward for the first one card she gets.
I might take her out to eat and let her supersize
I think there was a hand over here.
Yeah, there's one net that
Let's
happens.
stand up and project.
My apologies. Okay, I didn't want to get in the way of the camera, but there's a net that's on every single night, 3916 on 80 meters. And what they do is, it's called the rolling wheel net. They kind of change the net name about every hour. But every year at Christmas time, they have the kids call the North Pole. And while this is very critical, because you'll take anywhere from 2 years old to 10 years old, and they'll call Santa Claus at the North Pole. So what they do is they have a combination of a Facebook menu of what the kid's name is, the sex of the child, et cetera, so that the net control knows what's going on, and then they come on, hi, I'm Santa Claus, is Jonathan there on the phone? And so it seems to me it's long overdue in ham radio to have a demonstration channel where we say, look, let's all meet at 14255. Anybody that's brand new to ham radio, we could have a Facebook connection. We should be able to do this in this day and age and say, look, this is Sandy, she's brand new to ham radio. Let's have the Elmers get on there and say, hi Sandy, would you like to get on and make a contact here? And then we'll just pass you around the amateurs that are assembled, and we can get things rolling. It works very nice for the kids that are mic shy. They Santa Claus calls them and ho 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 and does the big order and that sort of thing. And it works beautifully on 80 meters, and it happens every Christmas season from Thanksgiving to Christmas. And so it seems to me that idea could translate into what the challenges we seem to be facing here. So that's my 2 cents.
Lots of great. Thank you. That was not a planted question.
No.
My name's Karen. I'm an extra, KK6SID. You guys could be talking about me. Part of my problem is I can't understand anything I hear. So he'll set me up in a contest, it's Valentine's Day, and nothing's computing. So it's not that I'm afraid to talk. Hi, I'm talking. I have no idea what people are saying to me or how to respond to them, and so I just don't want to go there.
Don't do a contest.
Yeah, I haven't. Well, some of the nets are very good for things like that.
Okay. This way. As I said, on Thursday nights, the Young Ladies Radio League has a YL only net, and it doesn't have a lot of the jargon that you're going to be hearing in a contest. As you said, how do I respond? What do I do? And because it's a net, it's also fairly structured. We had one gal who, we've had a number of gals who've checked in with their third-party OMs being control op because they weren't licensed high enough in the general bands, or they were working on getting their license, but they didn't know if they wanted to get their license, so they were a little bit scared. And so every Thursday night, the net, because it's controlled, helps relay if somebody can't hear somebody. They help get the YLs only, so you're only talking to other YLs. So if somebody who's mic shy, a lot of times, like you said, oh, I don't know, am I going to mess up? Well, for some reason it's easier YL to YL. And the other thing is that it will also teach you at the same time, because it is designed for the women who have not gotten on the air a lot or who've only talked to their OM. It's specifically designed to do that. And we even had one gal who had to check in via her old man because she had laryngitis. So he's been the only OM who's actually been on there. Now, the other thing is that YLs with their voices get through in a pilot. People want to talk to the ladies. It works on de-expeditions, it works in contests, things like that. But also, if you are a paper chaser and collect QSL cards, you can get worked all states, but you can also get YL worked all states. YL DXCC, talking to women in all the different countries. And so it's one way with this particular net, because it's all women at first, but a lot of them will stay on the air, and then the guys will talk to them because they need a particular state or something, and because you've already been on earlier in the evening, then it's a lot easier to go on to a normal, general conversation without worrying about what you've got to say, and is somebody going to talk too technical to me, or what is my rig, and things like that. So, and we've got one here.
I've got a terrible memory, time and frequency for the net.
That one is, it varies when daylight savings. I will say this, it is on the YLRL.org website.
Oh.
That's going to be the easiest thing, because I have to look it up myself. I'm the same way as you. And they're actually, that lists, the YLRL website lists a number of YL nets. It's something that shows what the women are doing in amateur radio with a bi-monthly magazine as well. Because a lot of times people go, well, what do you talk about? What do you do as a YL? And this is one way that shows, because we're an international organization, what the women all around the world are. If some of the other countries are having a YL-specific convention, Scandinavian young ladies, the British ladies, they all, Lara for Australia, they all have their own clubs and conventions, and it's a way to get everybody a little bit more involved. And again, it's another way to get your YLs, licensed or unlicensed XYLs, involved, because then they can say, oh, maybe I want to go to Australia and see this convention. Or maybe I want to go talk to a YL in Britain, and how do I make a schedule with them? So again, sometimes it's talking female to female that helps. And I will, like, you give the plug for Young Ladies Radio League. We've been around since 1939, so we turned 80 this year. It started with a lace-bordered ad, and now we have, we've had as many as 2,500 members at one time, and it fluctuates just like everything else depending on the interest in ham radio. And the other thing is we've also got Facebook pages for YLRL for different districts. So if you're in the 6th district, if you're in the 5th district, in fact, we've got our 6th district chair over here, Carol. And so she's a really good person for anybody in California to talk to as well. And so she'll write the 6th district. But the YLRL.org website has all of that information. It's got the general nets, it's got how to join. And one of the things that we have also now done is we've come into the modern age, and you can even sign up via PayPal. The only thing that we need to know is what is your license level, name, address, so we can mail you things like that.
So as our time runs out, what I want to point out is I brought a bunch of old issues. If you want, take one, because it has information about membership and about some of the nets. And I do want to sincerely thank our panel and all of you for coming. And your question actually turned out great, because we got a lot of discussion. People got up and shared, and that's what a forum's about. Not us talking at you, you sharing your information. So I'm really appreciative to all of you, and we'll see you next year. You're great. Happy 90 years old, for God's sake.
Good to see you again, Kathy.